that direction of the sky, can you recognize the profile? That's the top of the volcano of Vesuvius. So imagine the big explosion last 3 days and buried everything. This volcano, it's still active underneath. It can explode any time. But don't worry, not today. It's not part of the tour. In 2,000 years, we count 52 eruptions. The last was 1944. So, and the volcano, it's monitorized 24 hours a day. Now, a few more seconds, we walk through those walls and we get finally on the streets, you know, in the city. When the first people came here, we talk about 2,300 years ago, they started to build a town. They found underneath lava rocks. I mean, the previous lava rocks. Vesuvius exploded millions of years ago, but we don't know exactly when. And those people, they find difficulties to cut those rocks in order to open what? Sewer systems. So in order, especially during those rainy days, to send out of the city all this rain, whatever used to run along the streets, the decision was from everywhere, the streets must be always sloping down. All right? So this is where the water goes down as fast as possible. But sometime, Pompeii became like a little tsunami. Streets like the rivers. Difficulties for people crossing the street, sometimes quite dangerous. So they made a perfect systems. Stepping stones from one side of the street to another in order to cross, like a bridge. And you're going to see this in a minute. But when they put it as stepping stones in the middle of the street, that caused another problems, you know, for people delivering with the horses, wagon, chariots. So the agreement was like this, to try to put always one stone next to another, trying to have always the same distance, a standard. And the decision to build the local chariots of Pompeii with the distance of the wheels according to the space of the stones you have on both sides. So you're able to go through one street, you could go everywhere in the town. And you see this outside here, this way. Now, just stepping out, give you a look on your left, the narrow street comes down. And at the beginning, you see, of the narrow streets, you got the stepping stones. Now we move closer. But you can even see, looking down on your right, everywhere the rain from everywhere must go out as fast as possible. So now I'm sure you understand. You got the picture about this. And look at the streets were a little bit curved. So the water runs down on both sides, not in the center. An easy way, you see, to avoid the rain, the mud, everywhere they want to go. So they could follow the sidewalk until the end. And look behind you down there, you got other stepping stones. So everywhere was this very good systems. Now, we walk that direction, please. The streets were all made using previous lava rocks. This is black lava rocks. And we know that Pompeii was born to become a very large trade center. The sea was very close. So, and all around the areas we have a long chain of mountains. So strategic point. So the best, the greatest time of Pompeii was when this Pompeii became a part of the Roman Empire. So the 90% built by Romans. But originally Pompeii, I told you, is much older. We talk about Greek civilization. Now stop here just a second. We know that you can go anywhere in the town. you walk along the streets, you always find more shops than houses. This gives you the idea of the big shopping areas. 3 kinds of shops. You may find a single room like this. You might find a deep store with extra rooms behind, or even with the stairs, 2nd floor. But most of these shops, you can see the entrance. You see these grooves? They already used that time. It's so hard to believe. Sliding doors. So wood sliding doors. Now, imagine you fly over the city. The shape of Pompeii is like a cross. East, west, north, south. This reminds me of New York City, Manhattan, streets and avenues. In the Latin language, they say decumanus and cardinus, means streets and avenues. So this is a street running from north to the south. The next, you're going to see the longest and largest avenue is the west. And when we get there by that corner, you really have the idea how big is Pompeii.
Actually, I don't think it was, because it didn't destroy as much human life.
On your left, and you see how far it goes.
Oh, damn.
So, my ladies and gentlemen, Pompeii could not be considered a small village. Pompeii was the city, the metropolis of the ancient time. And if you go from the beginning to the end of this avenue, which is about a mile, shops 90%. And here we have a public fountain.
No, I'm sorry.
Most of these public fountains were made out of lava rocks. Each fountain used to have different sculptures from others. So the public fountains were used like a meeting point. Issued by Venus, by Apollo, by Mercury, fountains, and etc. Now please check each angle of these rocks. We still find the lead and a piece of iron, like a ring. So the liquid lead was like a stronger glue, like, you know, to solder together stones with other stones. The same way they did in Rome, you know, with the Colosseums, those big blocks. Now come in the shade again. In a few minutes, this water will be good to make a hot tea.
Yeah.
Now, make space for your friends. Get in the shade. So, at the time, there were living 20,000 people. A lot of people escaped. We don't have any documents, you know, where those people went. But for sure, they never come back anymore in the areas. And imagine these people. They had a great time, great life. They made money. You know, this was like, you know, the biggest shopping mall, yeah, of the ancient time. But one thing they didn't know was the risk of living right next to a volcano. They thought it was a mountain. They never had in their memories any of those experiences. And imagine when they start to build a town, the 90% of the stones you look around, they took from the base of the volcano. But they didn't know that even this was a volcanic stone. We call this the tufa stone. The only materials produced by those people, we talk about the red bricks of terracotta. You can see those pillars, the red bricks. We still make it nowadays, you know, for, you know, the jars, olive oils, water, the tiles for the roofs, and the marble, travertine white marble that they imported from center north of Italy. Now we walk into the remains of a house. So this way you understand how was, the shape of these houses. You can visit hundreds of these houses in Pompeii. When I say house, it means people with the money. Otherwise, just little shops and little flat upstairs. That's it. So the shape of the houses, it's a standard, always the same. Won't change the size, bigger or smaller. Now come and see.